Have you ever noticed that whenever you imagine your dream life, you're always a different woman in it? Think about it. When you picture the relationship you want, you're calmer, more secure, less anxious. When you picture the money you want, you're not constantly worried. You're not checking your bank account every 5 minutes. You're not panicking every time something goes wrong. When you picture the version of yourself who has everything she wants, she always seems lighter, more confident, more certain. And that's what I find interesting. Because most women spend so much time focusing on what they want to have, they never stop to think about who they would have to become. They want the relationship, the confidence, the lifestyle, the peace, but they never question whether the version of themselves they're operating from right now could actually hold those things. And before you panic, this isn't one of those videos where I'm about to tell you to wake up at 5 a.m. and become a productivity robot. I'm talking about something much deeper than habits. I'm talking about identity. Because your identity quietly controls more of your life than you realize. It decides what you tolerate, what you believe, what you expect, what you settle for, and most importantly, what feels normal. That's why two women can experience the exact same situation and walk away with completely different outcomes. One woman gets rejected and starts questioning her worth. The other gets rejected and thinks, okay, that wasn't meant for me. Same situation, different identity. One believes rejection means something about her. The other believes rejection is simply information. And that difference changes everything. You know what's scary? Most people are trying to change their lives without changing the version of themselves that's creating them. They want different results while protecting the same mindset, the same habits, the same emotional reactions, the same stories. Then they wonder why nothing changes. Imagine wanting a completely different relationship while still accepting behavior you've already outgrown. Imagine wanting financial freedom while continuing to make decisions from fear. Imagine wanting peace while staying emotionally available to every person, problem and distraction that enters your life. At some point, we have to be honest. The future version of you would not handle certain things the way you do now. Not because she's better, because she's different. She doesn't argue with reality. She doesn't spend weeks trying to decode mixed signals. She doesn't abandon herself every time someone disappoints her. She doesn't need constant validation to feel valuable. And here's the part nobody likes hearing. She wasn't born that way. She became that way, one decision at a time, one boundary at a time, one difficult conversation at a time, one moment of choosing herself at a time. That's why I think so many women misunderstand manifestation. They think it's about attracting. I think it's more about alignment. Because how can you expect to keep something that you're not emotionally prepared to hold? How can you maintain a healthy relationship if you're constantly abandoning yourself to keep it? How can you build confidence while continuing to break promises to yourself? At some point the conversation has to shift. Not, what do I want? But, who would I need to be if I already had it? That question changed my life. Because suddenly I stopped obsessing over outcomes. I started paying attention to my behavior. The relationship wasn't the goal anymore. Becoming the woman who could create healthy relationships became the goal. Confidence wasn't the goal anymore. Becoming the woman who kept her word became the goal. And something strange started happening. The things I wanted started showing up naturally. Not because I chased them harder. Because I stopped acting like the version of me who believed she couldn't have them. I think that's where a lot of women get stuck. They're trying to build a new life while remaining loyal to an old identity. The identity that says, I'm not good enough, or nothing ever works out for me. If those beliefs are still running the show, they'll quietly influence every decision you make. And eventually your life starts reflecting them. Not because you're cursed, not because you're unlucky, because your actions always follow your identity. That's why the biggest glow up isn't physical. It's psychological. It's the moment you stop seeing yourself the way you've always seen yourself. The moment you realize you've been carrying an outdated version of yourself long after you've outgrown her. And maybe that's where your next level begins. Not with a new routine or a vision board, but with a decision. A decision to stop identifying with the woman who created the life you're trying to leave behind. Because the version of you that has everything you want? She's not waiting somewhere in the future. She's waiting for you to stop thinking like the person you used to be. And once that happens, everything starts changing. Not because your life changed first. Because you did.